Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be doing a driving review of this 2022 Toyota Sienna minivan. It's a hybrid. They're all hybrids now. So we're going to focus on the drivability of the hybrid Sienna. They're all hybrids now. No choice to get a V6. So let's talk about just the hybrid part. How is it going to drive? We already know it's got a big trunk. It's got plenty of seats. It's got plenty of room. It's got everything you need to get your family going to where they need to go. We all know that part. Beautiful interior, seats 8 people, but they are all hybrid vehicles now. So the big question remains: is this hybrid drivetrain on a minivan going to be just as capable as the outgoing V6, the Toyota Sienna V6, which is what the older Sienna had? Or is there going to be an issue with the delivery of power, etc.? That's what we're going to explore today. There's plenty out there on how awesome the interior of this Sienna is, and how awesome the exterior is. It's all subjective, of course, but it's a minivan. So let's instead focus on what it's like to drive the Sienna. Specifically, what is it like to drive the new hybrid powertrain? So let's hop into this model. It's an XLE version, which is the version most people are going to get, XLE. And let's take it for a drive, both off-road and on-road, and let's see what it does. Have you ever seen Prius drivers driving kind of weird? It's because they're looking at this display there, and that could be a little bit distracting. Of course, that's subjective, but that maximizes your fuel efficiency when you play around with that screen. The amazing part about this hybrid Synergy drive is the power delivery. Truly is the best of both worlds. The best way to explain what's going on here is a tandem bicycle. So, one of those bicycles where 2 people can pedal at once. And what you have essentially is a sprinter like Carl Lewis on one set of pedals. And then you have a distance runner, I can't think of any famous distance runners right now, on another set of pedals. When we take off here, by the way, of course, when you're just sitting here doing nothing, the engine and electric motor turn off for maximum efficiency. And what you'll see here in a second when we take off is you're going to get the sprinter action from the electrical motor. That's going to give you the torque to really take off. And then once you get going, the distance runner, which is the internal combustion engine, that will take over. And one of the important things to know about these hybrids, no matter what you think about the Prius or anything, or what you may think, is they're not slow. We're going to take off here and we'll show you. Just like that, we're already at 60 miles an hour. The speed limit is 55, so let's slow it down. So the drivetrain in this Sienna is pretty amazing because of a few combined factors. Many people say, well, there's no V6 in it, but, well, you don't need it. You buy a minivan because you need to carry around a lot of people. Not for speed. What you need is more than adequate power to move a car full of 8 people and stuff. And that's exactly what this delivers. The bonus is the fuel savings. You're getting 36 miles per gallon here, and instead of like 24 in the V6. So you're getting a huge increase in MPG, and the power and torque delivery is just phenomenal. So as you can see here with this computer, it's going back and forth between the Sprinter and the Distance Runner in order to give you maximum efficiency. If you take your foot off the accelerator and coast, you'll see that it'll charge the battery. So engine braking, or regenerative braking, is really engine braking. I'm going to take my foot off the pedal, and you'll see that once I do, it's going to charge. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let off the pedal. Now it's just charging. Charging. So as you coast to a stop in one of these cars, it's sending tons of energy back into the battery. That's otherwise wasted energy in a quote-unquote regular car. Anytime you let off the decelerator and you feel that engine braking, whether you're in a manual or automatic, that just gets wasted as heat. Here in the Sienna, 2022 Sienna, that is all, not all, but a good portion of that engine braking is taken back through the battery. So you're essentially flash charging your batteries with all that kinetic energy. And according to the internet, that's in your average coast or engine brake, there's enough kinetic energy to light up a office building. So it's tons and tons of kinetic energy going back into the electric motor. You can see here, coasting along, and it's just charging the battery. As soon as you give it the slightest amount of gas, it will do what it needs to do to get back to providing you with either motor power or engine power, or a combination of both. But what's really amazing about the powertrain is that, again, it's the combination of having such a big vehicle. You know, if I could say this in the simplest way, you have a big fat 8-passenger vehicle that's getting 36 miles a gallon, and it doesn't struggle for torque. You can even chirp the tires on this thing. It just takes off and goes. You're up to speed. You don't feel like you need any more power than what it's already giving you. The smoothness between transitioning between engine and electric motor is just perfect. You can't feel it at all. You can't feel the transition. It's important to note that there's no there's no traditional transmission in a Toyota Synergy hybrid, which is what this is. It does not have a CVT. It has an ECVT. He's speeding. I'm going to speed limit 55. But anyway, there is no steel belt in the ECVT transmission, so it's a bit of a misnomer when we call these, when Toyota calls them ECVTs. Yes, it is an ECVT technically, but when people think of the CVT transmission, they think of that thing with the steel belt that Nissan is notorious for having on their cheap cars, which wears out and drives funny and brakes. This Toyota and Toyota hybrids of the same design do not have a standard CVT. They have an ECVT, and they're nothing like a traditional CVT with the steel belt. There's no steel belt at all. Instead, what you basically have, like a tandem bicycle, is two power inputs, the electric motor and the internal combustion engine, both sharing a output, which is your drive wheels. And so you will have two inputs and one output. And what makes those outputs all work together is a set of planetary gears. So there is gearing in there, but they're not clutched together like a traditional automatic transmission, which will have clutch tracks and brake bands that are hydraulically controlled in order to actuate said clutches or brake bands. There's none of that here. They're essentially in constant mesh, and just the variation between gasoline engine throttle, takes off like magic. You can really go fast in this thing for what it is. Now, remember, we're talking about a minivan here. But anyway, back to this CVT. There's no hydraulic actuators pushing brake bands or clutches in this transmission. It's the variable throttle between the gas engine and the variable power output of the electric motor, which kind of, have a synergy, and they're electromagnetically coupled between this planetary gear set. So you don't have any hydraulic actuators, hydraulic fluid, clutches to burn out, any of that. So it's very important to realize that the hybrid synergy drive does not have a traditional either CVT or automatic transmission that will wear out in the traditional ways. So when these first came out, Toyota, well, they still don't do a good job really explaining this in their marketing. So many people think that a Toyota hybrid vehicle has a traditional automatic transmission, and the hybrid gizmos are just one more layer of complexity added to things. And while that may be true on some models, this particular Synergy drive, the one that's found in the Prius, the Highlander, this Sienna, and other vehicles, they simply don't have that system. You're doing away completely with the traditional automatic transmission here and the traditional CVT transmission for something that is arguably much more robust. But the power delivery, again, is spot on in this car. We already know that this car is big, it's going to hold everybody, it has automatic doors, this, that, and the other. What I really want to drive home is just how awesome this thing is to drive. When you go uphill with a car full of 8 people, it doesn't bog down at all because you got that electric motor with all that instant torque. And that's like, again, having a Sprinter in your back pocket. So when you're going uphill in a regular, regular car with 8 people, the transmission's going to want to gear down to try to keep that, keep the speed up, keep the torque up. Where this doesn't do any of that. It just adds the perfect amount of torque, and you don't feel any slowdown, you don't feel any bog down. The thing just goes, which to me makes it that all much more enjoyable to drive, and more confidence inspiring, and more safe overall. So if you are on the fence about, hey, what's this hybrid drive like? Is it going to be this anemic 4-cylinder engine that just doesn't do anything because it's a hybrid? I guarantee you, you're going to be in for a surprise. Electric motors are torque monsters, and that's exactly what you get here, and that's why the Toyota engineers decided to get rid of the V6 and go with this awesome hybrid setup, because again, instant torque. I feel it at the back. You know, back of my seat. You know, you feel that pull, and you're up to 55 already. You know, you don't have to think about it. It's there. So make no mistake. If you think this is going to be an anemic type of ride, and Toyota messed up by making this car a hybrid, quite the opposite is true. They made it better all around by making it a hybrid. The ECVT, which is again just the synergy between the two motors, or excuse me, the motor and the combustion engine, is just silky smooth. There's no steps to it. It just does its thing. And if I haven't said this enough, it's just amazing how you can be fully loaded going uphill, and this thing just finds the torque to get the job done. It does not starve for power at all. Now, is it a race car? No. Is it an improvement? Absolutely. Upon the non-hybrid Sienna? Absolutely. And then again, when you take in the fuel savings, it's to me a no-brainer. And I believe to many people, no-brainer, and certainly to Toyota engineers, it's a no-brainer. You're going to be very satisfied. But I want to put it to rest, at least give my opinion, that the powertrain is not at all anemic, just the opposite. It's very, very torquey. Very torquey. It does not lack for torque. It has torque everywhere, which is the whole point of hybrid synergy drive. Sprinters, as we know, they have power down low, but then they run out of steam. Distance runners can go forever, but they have no power. Combine the two, and you have the best of both worlds, and that's what you need in your everyday driving. You have a combination of, hey, I need to be a sprinter because I'm at a red light or a stop sign, I need to take off, or I need to merge into traffic. That's when you need to be a sprinter. And then when you're cruising down the highway, that's when you need to be a distance runner. Neither the electric motor nor the internal combustion engine have the characteristics of both in and of themselves, meaning on their own. So when you combine the two, you're really getting magic, or as Toyota calls it, synergy. So keep that in mind. You're not getting something that is a compromise. You're getting something that is a technological and mechanical improvement on how we drive.
So there you have it. That's it. The hybrid synergy drive Toyota Sienna 2022 is absolutely excellent. Plenty of power, plenty of torque, excellent fuel economy. It's just great. So if you've liked this video or found it helpful, just please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.